Because I think if a victim comes out against Usher, it'll show how egregious this is. Because if he can be a predator, then anybody can be a predator.
Can't smile on your face the whole time.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, people look at Usher, they don't see that. They're not seeing the victim. They're not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that.
Jaguar Wright didn't just speak this time. She exploded. The kind of explosion that makes people stop scrolling. The kind that makes the internet go quiet for a second before everything erupts all at once. Because when Jaguar Wright opened her mouth again, she didn't just hint at secrets, she went all the way in. And this time, she didn't just mention Diddy. She didn't just throw shade at Usher. She brought Justin Bieber right into the center of it all, and what she said left people uncomfortable, confused, and honestly, shaken. Because according to Jaguar, what really happened behind the scenes when Justin was just a kid isn't the story fans were told. And the most disturbing part? She claims it wasn't random. She says it was planned. Now, before we go any further, let's be real about something. Jaguar Wright has been talking about the industry for years. Some people brush her off, others listen closely. But one thing nobody can deny is this: every time she speaks, people pay attention. Because whether you agree with her or not, she doesn't sound like someone trying to entertain. She sounds like someone who's seen things she can't forget. And this time, she looked directly into the camera and didn't hold back. She said names, she told a story, and she made it clear she's not scared anymore.
Just like it wasn't seminal fluid that Justin Bieber was wiping away from his mouth when he brought his face up from Odell Beckham's groin in a club with Trey Songz on the lookout.
The images are there.
Diddy-fied.
So what are your thoughts on all the his celebrity friends that denounced those allegations and were like, this is false, and you know,
liars.
They were saying, yeah, should they speak up now?
It's getting a little too late for those who are complicit. Stevie J should be charged. Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him. Off of Justin Bieber alone.
You know, Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, you know, he could buy you one also while you're out.
Got me a Lamborghini.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last time.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Months ago, I was really struggling mentally and emotionally, and just there was so many things that were adding up, and I wasn't able to enjoy any of the things that I own.
That stuff's not gonna matter to you.
None of the actual things did anything because I was so hurt and I was so confused and I was so sick, and there was all these things, and I was like, I can't, you know, there's like, you just can't, like you said, you can't enjoy the actual physical, tangible, like, things.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good? Selling
great.
out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, you know, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Correct.
And then you have them come to audition for you, right?
Actually, with a few people. My wife at the time.
Right.
It also was Perry Reed, L.A. Reid's first wife.
So you were all sitting in a room
We were
somewhere.
in a room.
Yeah.
And I showed her the video. And Perry says, "Are you crazy? You better get down there and meet this kid right now. He's amazing."
When all these pics come out and all this stuff with Bieber's big penis, are you the mastermind behind that? Say, listen, show off your big penis and people will come to those concerts. Or are you sitting there?
Is that the kind of manager he's doing?
Usher, are you sitting down with him and saying, yeah, show your or leave it in your pants? I mean, do you sit him down and say, look, part of this is PR,
Hey,
man.
by the way, he does have a brain of his own.
Yeah, but were you shocked at the size of his penis?
Hey, listen, he has a mind of his own. What he chose to do with his penis is his prerogative. He's managing that aspect of his life.
But Usher is somebody.
I have nothing to do with Justin Bieber's private part.
Yo, Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher. I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So.
But to really understand why this is hitting so hard, you have to go back to the beginning, way before the fame, the headlines, and the breakdowns. Justin Bieber didn't grow up in the industry. He wasn't born into fame. He was just a regular kid with a big dream and a voice people couldn't ignore. He was raised by his mom, Patty, in a small town. Life wasn't glamorous. There wasn't money or connections, just talent and hope. And then YouTube changed everything. Videos of this young boy singing started spreading. People noticed, views went up, and before anyone realized it, Justin wasn't just another kid online, he was becoming something bigger. That's when Scooter Braun entered the picture. He saw something special and decided to take a chance. He brought Justin to Atlanta, a city filled with music, opportunity, and powerful people. And that's where Usher enters the story. At the time, Usher wasn't just a superstar. He was respected, established, someone who had already made it and knew how the game worked. To Justin, Usher wasn't just an artist. He was a guide, a mentor, someone who could help him navigate a world he didn't understand yet. And on the surface, everything looked perfect. A young talent being supported by experienced figures. A success story in the making. But here's the twist. Jaguar Wright is now saying that what looked like guidance may not have been that simple. According to her, Usher wasn't just helping Justin. She claims he was introducing him to something much deeper, something darker. And that's where Diddy enters the story. Diddy, a name that carries power, influence, control. Jaguar didn't hesitate when she talked about him. She described him as someone who doesn't just build careers, but shapes people completely. And her biggest claim? That Justin Bieber, at a very young age, was brought into environments he shouldn't have been in, not as a guest, but as someone being watched, tested, and influenced. Now, let's pause for a second. These are serious claims. They're not proven facts. They're statements made by Jaguar Wright, and like everything she says, they've sparked debate, questions, and a lot of speculation. But what made people really stop and think wasn't just her words, it was how some old moments suddenly started looking different. Clips began resurfacing online, interviews people had forgotten about, jokes that didn't feel like jokes anymore. One of the most talked about clips, Justin, still very young, talking about spending time with Diddy, laughing about it, smiling, saying things that back then seemed harmless, but now people are watching it with a different mindset because context changes everything, and Jaguar leaned into that. She said what people thought were fun industry moments might not have been so innocent after all. She described a system, not just random interactions, a system where young talent gets introduced, shaped, and controlled. She pointed at Usher as the one who made that introduction smoother, less scary, more comfortable. And she painted Diddy as the one with the real power behind it, the one who takes things further. Now, again, these are claims, allegations, not confirmed truths. But here's why it's hitting people so hard. Because when you look at Justin Bieber's life, there are moments that don't quite make sense. His rise was fast, almost too fast. One minute he's a kid online, the next he's surrounded by some of the most powerful figures in the music industry. No time to grow, no time to adjust, just thrown into a world that moves quickly and doesn't always protect the people inside it. And then came the struggles. The headlines started changing. It wasn't just about music anymore. It was about behavior, trouble, emotional breakdowns. Fans watched him go from a smiling teenage star to someone who looked lost. There were arrests, public outbursts, moments where it felt like he was spiraling. At the time, people said it was fame, too much too soon. But Jaguar says it wasn't just that.
She believes the pressure started way earlier. She says what Justin experienced behind closed doors played a role in everything that came after. That what looked like rebellion might have been pain, and what nobody expected was how quiet things got after that. Justin pulled back. He stepped away from the spotlight at times, focused on his health, his faith, his personal life. He tried to rebuild, and in many ways, it looked like he was healing. But Jaguar's claims bring a different question into the picture. Was he recovering from fame, or something deeper? And here's where things get even more intense. Jaguar didn't just talk about the past, she talked about silence. She pointed out how certain people stopped mentioning Justin over time, how connections that once seemed strong slowly faded from the public eye. No more public support, no more visible closeness, just distance. And according to her, that distance isn't random. She says it's fear. Fear of what could come out. Fear of what people might start connecting. Now, whether that's true or not, nobody can say for sure, but the internet, it's already digging. People are re-watching everything, looking at body language, old interviews, small details that didn't matter before. And the more they look, the more questions come up, because once doubt enters the picture, it's hard to ignore. And that's exactly what Jaguar did. She planted doubt. She challenged the story people believed for years, and she did it in a way that felt personal, emotional, like someone who's been holding something in for too long. And when she spoke about Justin, her tone changed. It wasn't just anger, it sounded like frustration, like disappointment, like she was talking about someone who didn't deserve what happened to them. And that's where the emotional weight really hits, because at the center of all this is a kid who became famous before he could fully understand what that meant. A kid who trusted the adults around him, who followed guidance, who stepped into a world that promised success, but maybe came with a cost. And even if only part of what Jaguar is saying is true, that changes how people see everything. It changes how people see Justin's struggles, his silence, his distance from certain people. It makes people wonder if the story they were watching all along was incomplete. And honestly, that's what makes this so powerful. Not just the claims, but the questions. Because questions stay, they linger, they make people look deeper. And right now, that's exactly what's happening. Fans aren't just watching anymore, they're thinking. They're connecting dots, and they're realizing something uncomfortable, that sometimes the truth behind fame isn't as clean as it looks. And as for Jaguar Wright, she made it clear she's not done. She says there's more names, more stories, more things she's ready to bring into the light. Whether people believe her or not, she's not backing down, and that leaves everything hanging in the air. Because if more comes out, if more pieces start to fit together, this story could become something much bigger than anyone expected. And maybe that's the real reason this feels different. Because this isn't just gossip, it's not just drama, it's a story about power, about influence, about what can happen when someone enters a world that's bigger than they are too early. And as viewers, we're left with one simple thought. What if we never really knew the full story? And if that's the case, then what else has been hidden in plain sight this whole time?